Aloha and welcome to the Great Shift, our Shift in Consciousness webcast. It is our mission here at the Honolulu Church of Light to do a webcast twice a month on the second and the fourth Wednesday of the month, and our webcast enlightens, inspires, and empowers we the people as they transform their lives and consciously create peace through love and healing. So I'd like to welcome you, our listening audience, in the studio and on our website, honoluluchurchoflight.org. I am Susanna Bowman, your host for this program, and we have a guest that we pray will enlighten and inspire you to take the next steps of your evolutionary journey. And our guest is KarinnaNielsen. She has joined us twice before, and our topic today is getting a splinter can be a good thing. Have you ever had one of those days when you felt out of sorts and you didn't know why? Have you felt a cold coming and decided to push through it and felt lousy because of it? Maybe what you are experiencing wasn't an illness at all. Maybe you were receiving a splinter. So what is a splinter? Well, I hope that your hearts and your minds there were sparks in your hearts and your mind and questions raised and different thoughts came forward. So if you do want to call us and talk to Karinna, the number to call here in the United States is 1-800-390-1886. For our international listeners, please call us at 1-808-952-0880. So Karinna is a Lemurian Goddess Light, a spiritual healer, a minister, a teacher, and a life guide. For over 15 years, she has been on a shamanic journey of love, awakening, and service with Mother Earth and the great shift in consciousness. As a purveyor of ancient Lemurian wisdom, Karinna is passionate about assisting others in exploring their unique talents and gifts and aligning with their life purpose to experience more joy-filled and fulfilling lives. Her website, KarinnaNielsen.com, offers an abundance of Lemurian wisdom resources, including private readings, healing session, personalized training, ceremonial goddess gathering, and sacred Lemurian journeys. And she's here today to share her experience, her knowledge of splinters. So I'd like to introduce KarinnaNielsen. Welcome,
Aloha,
Karinna.
aloha, everyone.
Glad
Thank you,
to have
Susanna.
you here again.
It's wonderful to be here.
So let's start off with, what is splinters?
Well, this is a fun topic, isn't it? I haven't had the opportunity to speak in front of an audience about splinters, but it's been a really big part of my life for quite some time. And splinters basically are let's take it back a step, and let's say that we all have a higher self, right? We are all an aspect of a higher vibrating being that we are, right? So we are the incarnate aspect of our higher self. And there come times in our journey when the higher self is working with us to move us forward in our evolutionary journey. And it will send to us and to our incarnate selves a higher vibrating portion of its own energy. And that is our energy. So there's nothing, kludgy here, but it's just about a higher vibrating part of us coming into our physical journey. And that's basically what a splinter is. It's a splinter of energy. And a lot of people say, oh, And I know you're going to say it because people say, don't use that word, splinter, that's a horrible thing. Oops, that's a horrible thing. Well, it sounds, uncomfortable, and sometimes they can be uncomfortable. But look, I saved this, right? And in my hand, I was helping my husband move some lumber around our ever-evolving home, and I actually got a splinter in my hand, and I thought, oh, this is just too funny because I'm talking about splinters, the other kind of splinters, but I did get a splinter and I saved it, and this one didn't hurt at all. So that's what splinters are, and we could talk a little bit more about it, but basically it's just a portion of energy that comes into our auric field, into our four-body system, and it's our higher self moving us along. You can look at it as a gift from the higher self. Our higher self saying, congratulations, you've come this far, and now we're going to move into a higher light vibration. It can also mean that you might be stuck, or you might be not moving along quite as quickly as the higher self would like you to, so it'll give you these boosts of energy to kind of move you along. And I think I also mentioned the computer analogy of a download of more memory to kind of expand your hard drive would be another way of looking at it. So, that's all the technical, descriptive info about what it is, but, the story of splinters is broader than that because we all experience them in different ways. And what I want to say also is that I'm sharing with you my personal journey on working with splinters over the years, and I had a real tangible journey with splinters, so I'm speaking from a position of experience.
Yeah, it was when we were talking earlier, it's like you did mention who gets them. We all get them,
yes,
whether we know about it or not. And it was when I had a discussion with my husband about, oh, maybe you're getting a splinter, and he goes, oh, that sounds painful.
Well, it can be.
Don't call it splinters. Because when I explained to him what it was, and then he said, don't call it splinters because it's painful. But maybe it can be painful sometimes.
Yes, it can be.
Yeah.
Yes, and I think that's what got my attention in the beginning, because as I said in the article, getting a splinter can be a good thing. That's on my monthly article for this month. That's really what got me to pay attention to my spiritual journey. And I didn't really start what you would call a spiritual journey. Good, I was a Methodist and I went to church on Sundays or something, but I didn't have a spiritual journey, really. I was a teacher. I was an English teacher in Europe, in Switzerland, and also here in Hawaii. And when I came back from Switzerland, I wanted to continue teaching. I even started my own school here and taught at a local university, but nothing was working. I wasn't happy. The business didn't run, and so I closed my school down. And what I ended up doing was I wanted to find out, why did I have a shoulder that I couldn't heal? I couldn't, it wouldn't go away, the pain in my shoulder. So I started investigating energetic healing, and that's what led me to the beauty, to Honolulu Church of Light, where Kahu and Master Guide Kiro had monthly channeling events, and I continued to come because I was getting information about my spiritual path. So, and that was not coincidentally about when I was 41 to 42, which is that magical time in the numerology that is about 6 times 7, right? So the mastery of transition in the Lemurian numerology. That's a time when many people, not just women, Master Kirill has said that it's big for women, it's also big for men too, that we look at a new spiritual path or embracing a spiritual path. And so that's what I did. And actually the splinters did, because that was so painful, it got me to a space where I was searching. I was inquiring, continually asking questions of, why is this happening? Oh, it's a splinter. Well, what is a splinter? I mean, why am I getting these splinters? Why am I getting so many of them? And for me personally, it was just because it's set up a certain way in my blueprint, that I would have an abundance of these splinters. And I left it to begin, really, until I was in my early 40s. So I had a lot of catching up to do, as I said in my article. So I'm very compassionately feeling all of you that might have splinters that are not that comfortable. But, there is a way of working with them that makes them a lot more comfortable. Let's put it that way.
Let me take this time to read a quote from one of Kahu's and Master Guide Kirell's book. And the book is called Guide to the Unseen Self. It is one of the books from the Kirell collection. And chapter 9 there's some information about splinters. On page 125, Master Kirell and Kahu writes that splinter is a vibrational segment of the higher self that enters into the vibratory system of your human light body. It is a higher vibrating segment, powerful enough to change the focus of your journey, of your energy, and move your life into a more desired direction. The challenge to humans is to release any fears of the change. And in doing so, the new splinter can transition into your energy system smoothly. So I would say to you, welcome splinters into your life, for they are a sure sign of growth. More importantly, know that splinters are added only at the measure your higher self knows you can handle.
This isn't that comforting. And I want to say that book, Guide to the Unseen Self, is a fabulous book. And this is one of the most powerful chapters in it. And I remember editing that very paragraph when we were publishing that book, and I was getting a splinter at the time. So, I was learning along with everyone else at the Beauty about splinters at that time and what it all meant. And the guidance from Master Guide Kirell and Kahu was so essential to me and in my journey of doing that. So, yes, it is about the higher self. There is a plan in your life, and it's called a blueprint, right? And that is what we find in signature cell healing in the pineal gland, in the signature cell. That's your blueprint. And in Lemurian shamanic astrology, we see that in your kahaki'i in the natal chart. We can actually look at your blueprint. And within that energy of your blueprint are the initiation points or the times when your higher self is going to move you forward. And that's when the splinters can come. And sometimes, yes, you might notice them. You might not, your higher self is not going to say, hello, you're getting a splinter now. What's going to happen is you're going to feel like you have a cold, maybe, or you're going to get a sore shoulder like I did, or a headache, or all sorts of things that might happen that you might think is some kind of an illness. And that is the time for you to rest, meditate, prana breathe. This is the essential thing about getting splinters and the evolutionary process. What it's about, and what it was about for me in the beginning, was the need for me to know thyself, to know myself, to understand my journey. What is happening to me? I started searching. I started asking questions. And what happened was I was in a community where I could get answers. I surrounded myself with other light workers and other healers. And I embraced what was recommended to me by Master Guide Kirell and everyone here at the Beauty, and that was we do 50 prana breaths a day. We get a weekly healing, and we give a weekly healing every week, right? We practice the 10 principles of consciously creating. We meditate every day, at least once a day, better twice a day, or whenever you're getting a splinter. So, it's about the tools. It's about having the tools. So I also say in somewhere on my website, I think maybe even in my article, is splinters can create magic in your life. And what does it take for magic to occur? It takes three things are happening, right? Your intention is clear. So if you have an intention to evolve or to get better, let's just say it that way, you don't have to say evolve, but just get better, to improve your life as much as you can every day. If you have that intention set, and number two, if you have your tools together, you know that, I've got the 10 principles, I've got the meditation, the prana breathing, I'm getting my healings, I'm immersing myself in spiritual wisdom, as much as possible. And you have those two in alignment. When the timing is right, magic happens. So what happens when the timing is right? That's when the splinters most probably will come. And magic will unfold in your life in that you have this integration of the energy through your 4-body weave. And isn't that magical when you think about it? That your higher self that's not incarnate, the part of you that's not incarnate, is actually sending to you this energy into your 4-body weave. And you're integrating it, releasing what is no longer serving you, maybe lower vibrational thought patterns or things that just aren't suiting your journey at this time, and you're vibrating eventually up to this higher vibration of the splinter. And when that happens, I describe this in my article, you have this, there's a time when it locks in. And God bless all of you who've ever had this feeling of a splinter locking in, because you can be downright euphoric with this thing. It's just such a beautiful feeling because you've taken the step. That's the magic. That's the feeling of, okay, I've got it, and I'm ready to move on in the next. What's the next step, right?
Because as you're talking, I'm thinking like it's the sense of, I guess for me, there was a sense of relief from sometimes pain, sometimes cloudiness, the sense of cloudiness in my head, and just all of a sudden there's clarity,
Absolutely.
And where a day before there wasn't clarity, there was headache.
Yeah, there was like what the heck's going on?
So, but in the quote that I read is the challenge is for us to release any fears.
Yes.
And what I'm finding is that's what I'm working with, is releasing the old, which is fear-based things, and having the courage. One of the quotes that I found this morning after meditation, it fell out of my journal book, and it was like, have the courage to be in love.
Oh, that's so beautiful. That's really what it's all about.
And that was what old Master Krill had talked about in one of his sessions, and I wrote it down, and now and again it falls out of my journal, and I go, okay, I need to hear this today. So,
and in fact, that's what it's all about. Yeah. It's the courage to be in love, right? Because, and I want to just back up a little bit and talk about fear.
Yeah.
And what I think, Kaho always talks about in his workshops about the journey from fear to love, right? And we're all on this journey of fear to love. What is fear really? How do each of us experience fear? And for me, that was confusing in the beginning because I thought, I'm not afraid, I'm not afraid. Maybe, I don't like spiders, but I mean, what kind of fear are we talking about here? And really I had to get into my own healing journey to find out what are my fears? And do I have these fears from, for example, in my own personal life of not being perfect, of something, I'm not doing it right, or I made a mistake there, and oh my goodness, this is not right. Those are the fears that I worked with over the years. What are each of our personal fears? And sometimes it's not even that type of fear. It could manifest as anger, or it could manifest as frustration, or like, why are all these people all around me, acting so crazy, or what is this going on in my life? Why is this? The important thing to remember, I guess, we're talking about know thyself, right? And loving the self. And I do that by embracing my journey and saying, okay, I love myself just the way I am right now, with all the imperfections, with everything that I'd like to change and everything. At this very moment, it's perfect because I believe in the perfection of the Creator's light. And therefore, I can go from here now, and I can start to manifest in my life the changes that I'd like to see. And I think when the higher self hears that in your prayers or in your meditations, it's ready with a splinter to help you to see the next steps. Because I had a reflection about what comes first. You know, we talk about chicken or egg, right? What comes first? Does the frustration come first, or does the splinter come first? You know, because sometimes I'll feel this real frustration. I'm going, you know, why am I not doing this? I got to get going. I got to do this. I got to do that. And I'll see maybe other people doing things that I think I should be doing, but it's focusing outside of myself. It's not focusing within the self. At the same time, I recognize I'm feeling this vibration coming towards me. And as I said in my article, you can actually feel them. You know, you can go into meditation. You can talk to the splinter. It's a part of you. You can, if you're a healer and you've developed some sensitivity in your hands, or even if you haven't, try and go through your auric field and find it. If you feel a headache coming in here, can you feel the splinter? You know, you might even feel it coming into your auric field. You know, this is the process of the healing process that splinters bring out, and your vibration of love is your frequency of love is elevated through these splinters.
It's interesting you said that, because I remember doing your healing actually several times when you said, oh, splinters coming on this side, left or right side of the head, and then I do the scan and I go, oh yeah, I can feel it. And then there's several techniques that we do in signature cell healing, and you know, I would use the techniques, and then it would smooth out. You know, the energy would smooth out just by enlightening your brain. Mm-hmm. And then you'd get up from the healing and go, oh, wow, I feel better.
Yeah, always.
It's integrated.
You know, and God bless you, because we've been healing partners for, I don't know, going on 10 years.
Yeah. 8 years, yeah.
Something like that. You know, I think in the beginning, I was getting an incredibly excessive amount of splinters, because I had just put them off for, you know, until I was 42, basically. So that's what got me to want to know what is it all about. And I had to I didn't have to, I made a commitment to my higher self to be on the path of evolution, to be on the path of love, and embrace the goddess light in my life, and began to work with the goddess light and love, evolutionary love. So I think in the beginning, people around the beauty in those days thought, what the heck is she doing getting 2-3 healings a week? But really, I was getting them as often as I could, because I just was getting a lot of splinters and I needed help. And I think that's part of what we wanted to talk about, is when you are on the path of love and healing, how do you surround yourself with a community that supports your journey? And I know many people that might be listening to this webcast are in parts of the United States or parts of the world where you don't know any other spiritualists around you. Yet at this time, there are online communities that you can participate with, like, for example, this webcast, or, for example, a Honolulu Church of Light Sunday webcast. These are ways that you can start to surround yourself with a community of healers or people that are on this path of love and healing. So that's what I did in those days. And I didn't, you know I annoyed a lot of people because I really had to have my healing. But it was worth it, because I just really wanted to move on. I didn't want to be stuck. I just wanted to get on with whatever my higher self had in store for me.
Now that we know more about the healing process and the 4-body healing process, as well as signature cell healing, it seems like, you know, again, you had the courage to love yourself so that you could take the steps. And sure, you may have experienced people being annoyed because they're asking, what, another healing this week? What? She just got one 3 days ago.
I'm such a baby. What a wimp.
But then what I know now, I mean, before I was doing signature cell healing, and but now that I know more about the healing process, I can understand that it's essential to assist your body to be more in light, which signature cell healing does.
Yes.
And when you enlighten your body, it allows this new energy pattern to kind of flow be integrated more smoothly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the key. Yeah. And I know after every healing for me, it's like, oh man, I'm on cloud 9.
I love it too.
I'm on cloud 9. I can do all those things that initially I had fears about.
Mm-hmm.
So that opens up the channels of receiving.
It's like a weekly reboot.
I know.
Basically.
But then it for me, lately it's opening my heart to receive.
Mm-hmm.
And basically to integrate the splinters, it's important to be in that space of loving the self. And when you love the self, you release some of the fears.
That's absolutely right.
And then maybe that's why we get more.
Well, yeah,
because you keep opening your heart.
As above, so below, as within, so surrounds, right? So we are in the great shift in consciousness right now, of course. And so our higher selves are looking at us as the defined aspects that are going to be moving through to the fourth light. I mean, if anybody listening to this webcast is surely, I'm pretty sure it's going to be going through the fourth light. So, or else we wouldn't be listening. We'd think we're all wackos, right? What are, along with signature cell healing or any type of energetic four-body healing that you might be able to receive, what are the other tools you can avail yourself of? And the other thing I wanted to mention was, of course, meditation. And that is something that helped me so much, was morning meditations, evening meditations, and then immediately afterwards, automatic writing. So I still do an automatic writing at least once a day in the morning. And I use the Lemurian prophecy cards to give myself a little reading. And then from my meditation, I'll ask a question, or I'll make a little statement about what I felt or what I'm feeling, and ask my higher self or my guidance for some information or some help with my journey. And that's what we all can do. I'm not special in that way. It's something I just learned how to do. And I think that's a very practical way of working through the energies of the great shift that are accelerating now. And people that were like me, let's say 15 years ago, I didn't know anything about spirituality. I didn't know what mediums were. All of a sudden, I found myself sitting in a Kirill session where Kahu was bringing Master Kirill through as a medium. And I felt really comfortable there. So, and I knew nothing about it. So there are a lot of people I know, listening, or people out there that are suddenly starting to inquire or ask questions about spiritual concepts, or, what is life really all about? Or, how can I make my life better? How can I lead a more fulfilling life? And these are the ways that we can start to address those questions and get answers.
I want to take a break here, and just we've talked about a lot, and I'm sure maybe our listeners out there are feeling out of sorts, as you mentioned in your article. And this is an opportunity to call and ask those questions, any specific questions that you feel Karinna or I might be able to answer for you, or for you to share something about your Splinter experience. So the number to call in the United States is 1-800-390-1886. And for our international caller, and I believe we have a couple, one or two, and the number to call is 1-808-952-0880. So, Karinna, you've done your 50 by putting this the information on this webcast on your Facebook, and people have responded.
Yes,
and
thank you,
so
everyone.
It seems like there's interest there. So have the courage and call us and talk to Karinna.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to my friend Hedy in Vienna, Austria, for sending me an email in response to the article that I wrote for the August newsletter, saying that she understood the feeling of a splinter locking in, because that was the time when she got clarity, or she had sudden synchronicities come up that were absolutely perfect to move her journey forward, that she hadn't even seen them before. And her share is at the end of the article on my website. But I mean, she's just acknowledging that what this is about awareness. And of course, you may have been getting splinters, and just instinctively, when you felt like you had a cold coming on, you laid down and you let it integrate and you moved on. So, you know, it's about awareness, and it's about knowing that as we work through these things, our journey moves forward in a really beautiful and loving way, and we're open to receiving and sharing more love, and that's really what the journey is all about.
Yeah, that comes to mind. My husband's one who has had bouts of vertigo, and at times it's very, very challenging, you know. And for me, as his wife, trying to him and him saying, I don't want you to touch me because he's so sensitive, you know. So at that times I do long distance healing.
Yes.
But he got to the point where he got so upset because I threw his medication away. And I threw it away because it was 2 years old. You don't use medication that's expired. And we were getting ready to go to the Body, Mind, Spirit Expo, and he was out. I mean, he was so nauseous. But he's had it over the years. And since then, we've heard about people, friends, that do have vertigos. And some people say, oh, yeah, they come and they go, and I just call the doctor prescribes things. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, several years ago, I thought, I wonder, when I became aware of splinters, I wonder if that's like big splinter episodes, you know, that for some reason things aren't working, that it affected his balance and the headaches and things like that. So,
well, absolutely. The higher self always has a way of creatively getting our attention. Mm-hmm. And, you know, this very well could be splinter energies. I don't doubt it. It also can be, you know, in a healing process. Just the splinters are a part of the healing process. But how much are we addressing our healing issues, or how much are we just accepting them as this is what I have, or I get a cold every year about this time, mm-hmm. you know, but are we asking the questions of ourselves like, why do I have vertigo? How am I out of balance? For example, you know, is my life in balance, or am I feeling out of balance at times? I mean, I think we can look at the deeper meaning of what's going on for us in our lives. And I'm not telling people not to go to the doctor and work with the medical world to help you. But there's also the situation where when we don't address the deeper, the underlying issues of illness, that they begin to come back again for us over and over again. And the higher self is trying to get our attention for some particular reason. And I know mine, I'll give my example, is there was a time when I had a sore shoulder for about a year, and I was getting healings, and, of course, I had sciatic nerve for about 2 years, sciatic nerve, which was, if anybody has had that, my love goes out to you, because it is the most painful experience. And I had it on the right side and thought I had it healed, and my guidance took it and put it on the left side because I apparently hadn't gotten the issue yet. But when I did get the issue, it was gone. And it only comes from something. And with the shoulder, I would have these, a perpetual sore shoulder. And finally, I asked Master Carol, I said, is it possible that the higher self could find a space in our body where it's convenient to put splinters through? And he said, congratulations, because I finally figured it out. And then I said, okay, well, I figured it out. And he says, now all you have to do is tell the higher self to cut it out and put it where you want it, because of course we're going to get splinters, right? But I can communicate with my higher self and say, okay, I think I'd like to get them, usual way, maybe through the crown chakra, or, I'll meditate more, or I'll accept it more, or I'll get the message about, what am I carrying on my shoulders, or, what am I not addressing in this particular ailment.
You brought up two important things, and that's addressing the deeper issues behind whatever pain you're experiencing, and then the importance of communicating with your higher self and guidance. Because that's, we talked earlier about the support system and how you found the church, and, we had a community that you could get answers, from other members of the church, and of course, Master Guide Kiriel, and the Kahu Fred Sterling. But then you talked earlier about your daily meditation practice and your prayers, your setting the intent, using the tools, and doing the automatic writing. And that takes, that is a commitment. And that is a way that you show how you have courage to love yourself. Mm-hmm. And so that is an important element of working through the splinters. And, I smile now because I finally, I got my dream, my wish. And my wish was, last year I wanted to have you be part of the program so you could talk about splinters, so that more people will understand it and will embrace the splinter. Because there was a time ago, people would say, oh no, I got another splinter, myself included. Oh no, I'm going through a transition, I'm going through another splinter. Oh, because it was always, splinters are painful, like my husband said. And now I can change my view on that, because I see it as an evolutionary journey. And I celebrate the splinter after I go, ow. And that, it's taken me to another level of interacting with my higher self and my guides, and there's magic that happens, and synchronicity and the clarity that you spoke earlier, and that is key elements of going through the splinter journey.
Well, I think you said a key word, and my guidance, right? Because we have our higher self as guide always, but we also have an entourage that comes with us on our journey when we incarnate, of angels, guides, councils, goddess lights, elven, Lemurian energies, all of these that are ready to be in service with us when we open our hearts and ask for guidance in meditation or in automatic writing or in prayer. Prayer is just the statement of our intention, right? So, putting it out there that we want to understand what's going on in our lives in order to be more in love with ourselves and others and move the journey forward. I mean, that's all it really takes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, right. So what would, because you went through all of those splinters, and I feel that you were in service to us, the community.
Thank you.
Because it was, and you had the courage to go to Master Carol and Kahu and get all your answers, So what would be the key element? I know you've talked about a lot of things, but, what's a key element to your experience, bringing forth and I'm going to say embracing these splinters, energy?
Well, I guess I would have to say, in a nutshell, is know and love thyself. Okay. That's what it's about, and all I really wanted to do was know what was going on for me. I was searching for answers. And that opened up a beautiful journey of me understanding my own blueprint, or understanding what are the opportunities that are here for me in this lifetime. You know, what are the gifts that I brought with me? What are the talents that I have? And am I in alignment with my life purpose? And when I'm in alignment with my life purpose and know what that is, then I can, you know, receive these splinters and say, okay, great. Okay, you know, it doesn't feel very good right now, but I understand there's a higher purpose for this splinter coming in, and I know I couldn't see it, but right there, that day I just finished, I must have done something really good. I must have had a completion. I must have done something right, because, you know, a lot of times we just can't see that. We think I didn't do that well, or I think I didn't do that well enough, or really screwed that one up, or that wasn't good enough. But my higher self actually is honoring me by letting me know with this splinter it was okay, and I'm ready to move on. So I think it's about this open communication too with the guidance world, and understanding that we are an aspect of the higher self here, experiencing this great shift in consciousness. And many of us in the Goddess Light, so many listening, have activated and are searching for answers about the Lemurian Goddess Light. And when you do that, then you'll see the splinters come as well, because you are on an evolutionary journey of love.
You're talking about one of the questions I was going to ask. You know,
see, we are one mind.
Because actually, two questions I was going to ask. Well, let me take this time. Karinna has talked about tools, and one of the tools that we use here is the 10 principles of consciously creating. And years ago, Master Guide Kiriel and Kahu had worked and brought forth the 10 principles of consciously creating, and created some audio tapes, and then decided to transcribe the audio, and now it's in the form of a book. And the book is available for you, our listening audience, and you can call the church at 1-800-952-0880 if you're interested in purchasing a copy, and Gail Jan or I can assist you in your purchase. So the book, again, is the 10 Principles of Consciously Creating. And Karinna, being part of the publishing team at that time, worked diligently on revising the book, and one of the forward or introduction is...
Well, there's a...
was done by you.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That's true.
So she mentioned that. So one of the questions that came up that I was going to bring forth was, okay, you talked about the 10 principles, using it as tools. So can you go one principle at a time, knowing that you have or are experiencing a splinter? How do you use each of the principles?
Oh, that's a really good question.
All right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and this will help those of you who are not familiar with the 10 principles, what they are. Okay, so let's talk about truth, right? So for me, the truth is about love, right? So truth, you could just as well substitute love for truth. Truth is love. The truth of my heart, the truth of my knowing, right? So that, for me, would be getting into, the knowing of the love of my journey, the truth of my journey. So working with the splinter as it comes in with truth is going to help you get to the essential lesson plan, or the essential healing that's part of that splinter coming in, your new vibration that's you're coming up on. Okay, and trust. Then you would need to trust that truth, right? Obviously. And that, that gets us into the trinity of truth, trust, and passion, right? So there we trust the truth, and the passion comes forth to move forward in our evolutionary journey, because that truth, trust, and passion is the essential trinity. We see it in the signature cell, the creator light, the Christ light, the goddess weave of love is the trinity of your mother and father, and then your own blueprint that comes into the pineal gland. So all of these are the essential trinity light. Okay, so going on with clarity. Clarity would be getting the, going within to find out what is the clarity that I need, communicating with the higher self, with your guidance, doing automatic writing. You're getting your clarity about it, getting healings to open yourself to more clarity. Then we go into communication, more communication with your higher self, which is a big part of what Master Guide Kirill brings through in that particular chapter. Is yes, it is about communication in the, between us and the human world, but the essential communication is between us and our spirit guidance, and that's how we can direct our journey. And then the completions. So that is the second trinity in the 10 principles of consciously creating. That's the three, we changed it, not 3 C's, but the 3 commitments. Because it's language neutral, right? So it's the 3 commitments. So the completion is the knowing that you have completed something in order for that splinter to come, right? It's moving you into a new space. The splinter is there, like I said, my higher self obviously is moving me forward for a reason. I'm complete in this space, and now I'm ready to begin. Then we come into the 4 pillars, which are essential. And in the Guide to the Unseen Self, at that time, there's a chapter there about the 4 pillars. And starting out with prayer, that would be your intention. So, saying a prayer of intention with your higher self or your guides or yourself to state your intention. What is your intention in your evolutionary journey of love? Are you intending to integrate these splinters and move forward? That's a good thing to put out there. The meditation we've talked about, how essential that is. Prayer being the one where you're asking the questions if you have them, stating your intention, and meditation, you're getting the answers. And then the sleep state programming, which is a great thing to bring in here because you can, in fact, I did this recently with a splinter, is I wasn't clear on what was going on. I felt, even me, after all these splinters, I get into these frustrated spaces and I'm thinking, what am I doing wrong? And so I put it up into sleep state. I said to my higher self, okay, in sleep state, I would like the clarity on what is happening and how I can move forward. And in the morning, did a meditation and an automatic writing and felt so much clearer about what was going on for me. And then the 10th principle being masterminding, which would be bringing in the mastermind of your healing community, your healer, like Susanna and I are a mastermind of healing. Your spiritual community, maybe you have a spiritualist church that you go to, or you're here joining the Honolulu Church of Light. Perhaps you're in a goddess weave. That is an awesome mastermind if you're in a goddess weave or a goddess group. And I know we have a lady that may be tuning in today with her goddess weave from the mainland. That, for me, is the ultimate mastermind, is a goddess weave, because you have women or men, it doesn't matter, a group that is committed to being in love, to reflecting love to each other. And ultimately, that's what a mastermind would be all about, is being in love with each other and helping each other to see the love reflected back to them in order to heal and to evolve. So that would be...
That's beautiful.
In a nutshell.
And that brings the second question that came, and which is about the guidance and communication. And it seems like in your journey you have worked with the goddess realm, the goddess weave, to assist you in integrating these splinters. So can you share a little bit about, what are some of the things that I could learn about the goddess light that will assist me in helping me through these splinter experiences?
Part of what comes up for me now is, beyond what I just said about the a goddess weave being a beautiful reflection of light for everyone involved. And sometimes that's not easy to see because you might have another goddess in the weave that is reflecting something back to you that you don't particularly want to see or you don't understand. And to go within the self and be in love with yourself enough to have the courage to look at yourself and see what is this that I'm seeing reflected in my goddess sister back to me. That's a powerful healing technique, and I think there's lots of spiritualists that talk about using the mirror or using the reflection. That is a big part of the goddess weave. We also have the element of the colors in a goddess weave. So each goddess in a weave would be working within one of the 7 transitional colors of the Lemurian Goddess Weave. So we have a commitment to one of the principles of the Lemurian Goddess Light is knowing and being the full expression of your color and weaving the colors and finding the balance in the weave. So the colors bring in an awesome healing element to sharing the love and being able to even just put it out to your goddess sisters and brothers. Here's what I'm feeling, here's what I'm experiencing, and because we have a commitment to be in the 10 principles of consciously creating, also to receive the truth in love back from them.
Could you explain a little bit more about the colors? Because for me, it's like last week I felt in meditation before going to bed, I just wanted to cover myself with blue, even though my goddess color is green goddess.
Yes.
I just felt like I wrapped the scarf, blue scarf, and it was a deep blue scarf around my throat. And then in the morning when I meditated, I have a dolphin pareo that I put over me, and it was light blue. But yesterday morning I felt like, I need green. In meditation, I needed my green scarf, and I came into the church yesterday wearing green with my green scarf, and today I feel green again. So can you explain about the colors and how we might use, even though my color might be one, I feel the need to immerse myself with a certain color as I'm going through my healing journey.
Yes.
Explain a little bit about that.
That's a great question, because as you may know, there are the 7 transitional colors of the Lemurian Goddess Weave, and there's a page on my website that explains a little bit more about the colors and the kuleana, or the responsibility of each of the colors. Just because, let's say in a meditation, you come to the knowing that you are, let's say you are a violet goddess, and you feel like, because I don't believe that anyone can tell you your goddess color. As a goddess, you will know your goddess color. I mean, someone could confirm it maybe to you, yet you have the knowing within you of what your goddess color is. We also may be working with our Lemurian family crest color, which Master Guide Kirill and Kahu shared with us a number of years ago, some of us. You could also be working with that. The other thing is, just because you are a violet goddess doesn't mean that you might need to have the green every now and then and to work with the green, because the green will represent healing and the weaves of the trees and the elements and all of that, and it brings a great healing light to whatever you're doing. So as a violet goddess, because the violet goddess is often a channel, a medium, or working in the etheric light and bringing information from the other realms into our earth plane. Sometimes they might need a little more grounding light, so they might put on a green scarf and use that. So you might be working with another color that would help you in a certain way over a period of time. And then, it's very might very well be that you would at some point change your color. If you're changing your color a lot, it might be that you could be onyx, which is all the colors together. So you might be trying out all the colors before you bring them all together. That's a possibility. But I want to emphasize that everyone's experience is their own. Everyone has a unique experience in the Goddess Light, and I'm just sharing you my experience after working in a goddess weave for a number of years with all 7 colors, and what we experienced over time. But there's countless ways of experiencing the Goddess Light because there are countless numbers of goddesses.
Thank you. I got a little more clarity on the colors. Each time you explain it, I go, I got it. And I got this segment of the information.
Another
now.
tool that we could just mention really quickly, because I know we're running out of time, is the Lemurian Numerology.
Okay.
And that is a super tool. We use that. I thought of it because the colors are actually, they have numbers, right? They are numbered, right? There's an order to the orders, to the color orders,
Okay.
right? So I also have a page on my website about the Lemurian Numerology, which was brought back into this earth plane from Lemuria by Kahu and Master Guide Kiro. And I have a presentation of it on my website to help people begin to work with the Lemurian Numerology, and you can use it in various ways. I know Gail Jan has it on the HonoluluChurchOfLight.com website in the photon energy, as well as in the Sunday bulletin for the date. So you can use it with your age, with the date, with anything, time of day, things that are coming up for you. It's a great tool that, along with the Lemurian prophecy cards, which you may have seen on other webcasts here, all the tools, find what works for you. All we can do, or all I can do, is let you know what my journey has been and what my experience has been. But your experience may be completely different, yet I present to you, certain tools that I pray will be helpful to you. And that's what we can do to be of service to each other, I think.
Okay, I'm going to pose this. Okay, was it yesterday? The numerology for the day, the month, the day, and the year was 9. And then I felt like wearing green.
The month, the day, and the year.
All
added
together, it was 9.
Yes.
And then I felt like wearing green. And then you said something earlier that said completion is created so another splinter can come in. Okay.
Or you can lock it in first and enjoy it, and then get ready for the next one.
So then my healing yesterday, I explained this experience of releasing like all these fear-based emotions and thoughts. And then, so now as you're talking, I'm thinking like, okay, did a splinter come in, or did the splinter get settled in at that point? Because I felt like it was, the numerology was 9. I felt like it was immersing myself with the nurturing color of green.
Yes.
And then the healing. And so it was.
I think you got your own answer there with the 9, because the 9 is about new beginnings too, right? It's completion, but it's a new beginning.
All right.
So, I mean, what we define, all of what we were doing is taking spiritual, etheric concepts and trying to set them out in ways that we can understand in our third dimensional world, right? So however you feel that there is a completion and you're ready to move on, that's part of your journey with your higher self, and that open communication and clarity. You brought up one thing that I think is really important that we mention here is the emotional body. And you said you were talking about how you felt it in your emotional body, and that is where we're going to feel those splinters. That's the primary body that is going to get activated. So the mental body is really something that comes along later and tries to define, okay, I've got a headache, I've got a sore shoulder, or I've got a cold. That's the mental body trying to process what is going on. But the emotional body is what we're going to feel right away. So in healings, when we get splinters, we're addressing the emotional body and I just wanted to slip that in there as
Wow.
well.
Well, we've gotten the signal to wrap up, and I'm feeling like we're just kind of revving up.
Yes.
So what that tells me that I would like to have you on again.
Oh, it'd be my pleasure.
But then I'd like to thank you for coming and explaining more. I have a little more clarity about Splinter experiences, and I pray that our audience on the website also got more clarity. And if you have more questions, please go to Karinna's website, KarinnaNielsen.com, and she has her email address there. You can sign up for her email newsletter and just get more information. And if you would also like to send any questions, you can also email us at info@honoluluchurchoflight.com. So that way we will put the questions together and see if we can get Kahu, Master Karel, or Karinna to answer all those questions, because we are learning together, and this is why we have the website, our webcast, so that we can learn together, so we can have a life experience during this great shifting consciousness filled with greater clarity and joy. So thank you for joining us. I'd like to invite you next time. That's Wednesday, August 27th. We're bringing back Karen Kimura, and she will talk about the miracle of healing, how she had gone through the experience of healing through her cancer situation. Quite remarkable. I'm looking forward to this, and so I hope you'll join us. So our audio replays will be available on our HonoluluChurchOfLight.org webcast in a day or two. Gail Jan will get that on for you. And please join us for our Sunday service on Sunday, 8:45 meditation and 9 o'clock with Reverend James. So thank you again for joining us. We appreciate you holding the light of love in your part of the world. Aloha.
Aloha.